My name's Ash Bergman. Really, I'm just a dog lover. I had animals my whole life. First dog was in a pet store, and I've been dog training for 10 years now, and I've also been doing dog daycare for the last 5 years, so which is a lot of fun. And so I work with a lot of different breeds, but the Bully Cuda has my heart. Uh,
There you,
Here's one right here.
yeah, look at that. Hey,
Yeah, come here. They're wondering why I'm talking.
yeah, look at him.
Yeah, well, I imported my first in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I was um, I was just looking for, I guess, my dream dog. I've always been really attracted to India and like their artwork and the Hindu culture and Hindu religion as well. And I don't know. So it was funny when I came across the Bully Kuda and I was just like, that's an amazing dog. I saw videos of them just, there's a lot of talk about them being aggressive and things like that, kind of like with the pit bull, but
Mm-hmm.
the videos are just playing with the smaller dogs and being like such loose and goofy, happy attitudes. And I just fell in love with them. And so I met Jonu. Actually, I reached out to a lot of different people through the internet,
Mm-hmm.
trying to learn more, different dogmen that work with the Bully Kuda, trying to learn about the breed. And several of them would send me pictures of their dogs or teaching me about them, but for some reason, him and I just loved his dogs. He was always very honest. He didn't hype them up, which a lot of people do. They try to say they're bigger, than they are. They're, more than they are, but he was always very honest.
Mm-hmm.
So I imported my first through him, 2011. I got another female in 2012, and I've been addicted to the breed ever since.
Okay. And talk about the differences that you've noticed between like the Bully Cutta and then our standard dog breeds here in the United States.
Well, I don't know. I would say they're different intellectually. Um, my boy, and with these puppies too, you notice they learn a lot through watching, like through observing you, and they when I train them, they pick on so fast. My male, my first boy, Akaru. I named him Akaru, but when we actually brought him over, we ended up renaming him Osiris. So Osiris, Akaru, same dog.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I taught him, hey, I taught him to jump up and turn the lights off for me because he was such a big boy. So lights out, and he'd jump up and paw at the light switch for
Oh,
me. And yeah, he knew speak, roll over. I'd say watch it, and he'd watch whatever was going on. Such a great dog, and he was very in tune with my emotions. Like he was always aware of how I was feeling, and he would if I was feeling like nervous about somebody, he would pick up on that and he would stand in front of me. But he wasn't an aggressive dog. He never bit anybody, anything like that. He did growl if somebody was coming towards us and they were, in an aggressive manner. He did growl at somebody before, but he never bit anybody. Or he was an amazing dog. My male, he's no longer with me, but he's still alive. Um,
okay.
when I actually broke up with my ex because
Mm-hmm.
we had them together, he kept the dogs.
Okay.
But he ended up giving the male to somebody else, and he has the female with him. She's about 7 now,
Okay.
and she's still young. Like she doesn't no gray on her muzzle. No, she's active, agile. She acts like a young dog still, which is a lot. My my 2-year-old German Shepherd already all gray in her face, so it's kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I from what I've talked to with the other people and Jonu, they tell me that they can live 15 to 20 years if you take care of them really well. They're
Mm-hmm.
actually, a lot of large breeds, they have a shorter lifespan. The
Mm-hmm.
Bully Kuda seems to be a really healthy breed. Well, there's kind of two types really
Mm-hmm.
now because they mix the Bully Kuda a lot with other breeds when they use them
Yeah.
for dog fighting,
Mm-hmm.
hunting, and things like that. And there's another type that is considered to be the pure ancient type, which they call the Succha Bully Kuda, and that's the type that we like to focus on.
Okay.
The other type can be they want him to have more height, so they breed him with Great Dane. They want him to be more aggressive, so they breed him with pit bulls for dog fighting, or they want him for hunting. They'll mix them with the Bull Terrier that they have in Pakistan.
Yeah.
So you'll see them different, like skinnier heads, taller, lankier bodies. Some of them are shorter, less skin, that kind of thing. Um, the other type, the ancient type, is more of a they're a stocky, blocky dog, but they're not overdone like a mastiff. They're still agile and
Mm-hmm.
athletic, and
Mm-hmm.
they have a good amount of stamina for being such a large breed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bully Kutta comes from the word boli, meaning wrinkly, and Kutta means dog. So it's a dog that the other breeds in India, they're not heavily breed, or the breeds that are, come from that area aren't heavily wrinkled in that way.
Mm-hmm.
So this breed, the actual Bully Kutta, has a lot of skin. He has like a wrinkle under his eye. When they look down, their skin kind of hangs on their face, and
Mm-hmm.
when they're making curious expressions, they get a lot of wrinkles on their forehead and that kind of thing. But they're not, excessively saggy like a Neo.
Right.
Um, yeah, they got a big, thick rib cage. Their rib cage should come down to about their elbow. You know, um, Not overly done, not small because they need, uh, big lungs to be able to
Mm-hmm.
breathe and go for a lot longer, more stamina.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and Their tails are long, long tail, straight. They probably go down to their hock. Their tail is almost as long as their body.
Wow.
Long tails, keep it
Mm-hmm.
long, straight. You'll notice in a lot of the pictures.
Mm-hmm.
So that type, you'll see pictures from old times, and you'll see carvings and paintings of dogs that look like that type of Bulikura. And that is the type, that is the history that they come from. Kings, ancient Indian kings would use them for war. They used them for hunting. They used them for entertainment, for fighting. Um, and they used them for fighting bears and lions and things like that for entertainment. So that is the history of the Bulikura and the ancient type Bulikura. The modern type Bulikura now is used for hunting, guarding, and dog fights.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's what scares off a lot of people here in the Western world is that
Yes.
is what they see online and what they read about the bully cut being a strictly fighting dog instead of the history, the long history it has, and the other functions that it could do, like you know like you're in Texas, hog hunting is an important
Mhm.
thing. Then they could probably do pretty well doing stuff like that, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hog hunting. My first boy, I actually took him and did a little bit of Shetson with him,
Uh-huh.
but I didn't continue it because I was young and I just didn't go through with it. But he loved it and he did really good. And I'd love to. My new little puppy, I don't know. I'll see what I do with him. But yeah, I think they have a lot of purposes. And here we have a lot of farms too.
Yeah.
So these dogs are really good for guard. They do great with horses, cattle, chickens, ducks.
Mm-hmm.
I have a parrot. They don't bother my parrot. They're just curious. The cats, they don't bother the cats. But they see a rat, they'll go after the rat. They know, these animals are family. That's the prey. Like they're very intelligent. So
Mm-hmm.
they do great as livestock animals as well.
Mm-hmm.
I never use a leash with my dogs either. They're natural little followers. Uh, of course, if you have a male, especially, they can be aggressive with other male dogs. I've I've noticed smaller dogs, they never pay any mind to. It's only if it's a larger dog that's showing a challenge, they'll now actually fight back. Pit bulls, they have a drive to fight, um, and they're extremely highly dog aggressive. And I think a lot of people in the Western world kind of see that and they, translate that to the Bully Kuda, but the Bully Kuda isn't that way. They get along with the other pack members. They fight for dominance. They're
Mm-hmm.
not like driven. They don't have that same type of drive.
Okay.
And they love children too. Like my boy, he would seek out kids and he was so gentle. He would sit there in front of them like this and just let them pet him. And he just like reach out his paw, but like gentle. So gentle. It's like he's aware of his size. And
Mm-hmm.
he'd play with smaller dogs. I have a video on our Facebook page, the Succha Bulakuda, of him with a little Pomeranian, and that Pomeranian is an intact male too. And doesn't matter to him. It's just a little, oh, you're small, you're cute. Hi, who are you? You know,
Mm-hmm.
they're they're not a killer dog.
Mm.
I think they get hyped up a lot because people like to say, "Oh, my dog's the biggest, my dog's the best." You know, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
mine's the scariest. Be afraid of my dog." Everybody likes to make their dog sound better than they are, or meaner than they are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's why I like Jonu, and you know, I've been friends with him for like almost 10 years now. So,
Okay.
but yeah, he no bullshit with him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll tell
Mm-hmm.
me tells me the good, the bad, and the ugly with the bully Kutta.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the negatives that you've seen that you definitely have to like train out of them?
Well, the dog aggression,
Mm-hmm.
because with other larger dogs, they are a very big and powerful dog, and they're athletic. So you have to be a dog savvy person, I think, to own a dog like that, any type of power breed.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you do not socialize them well, then they can be more prone to dog aggression. They're typically not human aggressive. They will, if a person is coming and they don't know them, they'll stand up and they'll watch them, they'll guard, you know. If you tell them it's okay, you know, they're very, you know, they understand. They're typically, when I take my dogs out, they like to go up to other people, like, hey, who are you? But if it's another dog standing with their tail up looking at him, he's going to stand up with his tail up looking back. I have my dog trained. He knows, you know, leave it, let's go. But if you don't socialize your dog, you don't train your dog, then yeah, that's dog aggression is a trait that, you know, this breed has.
Yeah, and like you were saying, it's probably not the the greatest breed for a first time dog owner.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
wouldn't recommend any type of large breed or
Mm.
power breed for a
Mm-hmm.
first-time dog owner.
Yeah.
But this breed is really like they are not a hyper breed. A lot of dogs,
Okay.
they jump, they're you know, all this all the time. This breed is very cool, calm. They sleep all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You do need to exercise them. You know, they're athletic. They need to go out, but they're not tearing up your house. They're not, you know, bouncing off your walls. They're laying down. You come home, they greet you, they're happy, but they're not jumping on you or knocking you down or
Mm-hmm.
anything. They're very calm dogs. So I do recommend them for people who want a dog like that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Have you had any health issues with them or?
so far, no.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I've noticed, you have to be careful with your puppies if you're adopting,
Mm-hmm.
well, purchasing a puppy. I'm sorry. Look at the parents and know the bloodline because some dogs have weak pasterns, you know, or they look like they're flat-footed
Mm-hmm.
because they're supposed to have really tight feet, like tight cat feet, you
Mm-hmm.
know. If they have weak pasterns, and if you grow them too quickly and they have too much weight, they can have, you know, bad bent, and that's something that I've noticed. And occasionally they can have bad hips, but I've only seen that in a couple of dogs.
Mm-hmm.
But that both of those things are something that happen in all large breeds, and you need to be aware of that when you're buying
Mm-hmm.
a dog like that. Yeah.
How many bully cudas are in the United States? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. I have the two that I imported, you know, years ago. This year I imported two females and two males.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know another guy in Houston, actually two other people in Houston that have bullies that I didn't import. They imported themselves. And there's a guy in Canada, there's somebody in Denver, and there's somebody in California. So those are all of the people that I know, and we try to keep track of that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting. And you know, this breed is it's the first one. It's coming down here. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know of any other dog that came before Akuru. Um, you know, so I think I'd say there's probably less than 100. I know there's the one guy in Houston that breed his dogs, but he only had a couple of litters, so you know,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's probably less than 100, maybe 200 at max here
Mm-hmm.
in the United States.
And you'll be kind of the first Western kennel to deal with the traditional bully cuda, right?
Yeah, well, everybody has their type that they like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think most people strive towards the ancient type.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
So So your future plans is to start having a couple litters and see where that goes from there, or what is your?
Well, I never bred my dogs. My two dogs, they were just pets. They never had puppies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, right now, I have I have 5 dogs of my own. Only one of them is a bully Kutta at this time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not breeding at this time, but my friend Jonu is, and so this female, I actually have one female, the little white one that stuck her face here. She's 5 months old. She's available, and she's in Houston.
Okay.
So I have her available, and anybody who's interested in a puppy will import.
Okay.
Right now, Jonu, he does breed. He had a really amazing litter just recently. I think there's only one female left if she's still available from that one. But yeah, so right now that is what we're focusing on. Eventually, I want to get a nice piece of land, but that's going to be a little bit down.
Yeah. Right. And what would a cost of importing bully Kutta puppy be for somebody here in the United States?
Well, it depends a little bit. The shipping prices fluctuate some, but it's usually between 2,500 and 3,000.
Okay.
And if you import 2 at a time, it's a little cheaper because we can save on tax.
Okay. All right.
The female that I have here, we're asking 2,500 for her too. But
Okay.
yeah,
Right on. Do you
I
get
imported her in August, is what I was going to say.
you imported?
They're running around.
Yeah.
They keep distracting me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
That's all right.
Oh.
Do you have a lot of inquiries, or is you just start to get the word out? Or?
Yeah, well, most of it is people who don't know what they are and they want to learn. And I have a few, like I imported 3 of the dogs that I imported were for other clients and they're in their homes now. So I just have 2 puppies here with me and one of them I'm keeping. So, and then I have a couple other inquiries, people asking to import a little bit in the future. So I think it's a growing thing.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that some people are wanting to maybe outcross them, maybe kind of create their own band dog type situation, or is it people that are wanting to get strictly into the bully Kuttas?
I haven't met anybody yet who's looking into outcrossing. Everybody who I've met is wanting the more ancient type bully.
Okay, interesting.
And something about that is I think the ancient type is kind of harder to come across. And it's also almost a dying, if it's not preserved, it could die out. And so I think it's important to, with a breed that is as rare as the bully Kutta, I think it's important to preserve the bloodlines.
And
to breed them true.
And they really aren't. There isn't a lot of them outside of India and Pakistan, correct? Is there any other countries
No,
that
and
have a
there
lot
really
of?
isn't a whole lot in either. It's
Oh,
not a
really?
real common breed. Even
Okay.
people in India will message me in the United States and say, "What is a bully Kutta?" Southern India. You can find them more in northern India than southern India.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's actually more dogs in Pakistan than
That's
there
what I
are
was,
in India.
That's right.
I don't think. I just think. It's just really difficult to come by the actual pure ancient type. A lot of the dogs are mixed now because uh, only some groups care about the pure ancient type. Most of the people that have these dogs, or a lot of the people that have these dogs, are using them for a purpose, and so they're breeding them for that purpose. They don't care about the purity; they just care about the function.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of that is dog fighting, to be honest. The breed is mostly used for dog fighting or livestock guarding at this point, and a lot of them are used in hunting. And even less are used as pets. But some of the people are, it's becoming more common for them to be in the home and be, a pet.
Mm-hmm.
So, I just think that's why I think it's important, for me to preserve the breed. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's going to just go extinct, but I think if we don't, focus on preserving the bloodlines and finding the true ancient type dogs, that they will be less common. Well, like I said, they're not a crazy dog. They're very, very highly intelligent. They learn so fast. My dogs pick up on my words that I'm not teaching them, they pick up on those words.
Mm-hmm.
This breed watches and learns through watching. They just observe and then they know.
Mm-hmm.
So just basic training, as and I taught my dog all kinds of fun tricks and turn off the lights, speak, go and retrieve that for me and bring it, just for fun, just to see what they could do. And it impressed me every step of the way. Um, that's why I decided to come on this podcast and everything is because I wanted to talk about it is a dog fighting breed. And I think it's important to talk about that because you shouldn't hide from the reality of what the dog is. But it, it's using that for, in small parts. That's not the whole history. This dog breed has so much potential beyond that. It's not dog aggressive to that extreme, like a pit bull is where you have to chain them away from the other dogs in the yard. They're not that type of dog. They're very, you know, smart and almost human-like in
Mm-hmm.
their mannerisms and the way they look at you and the way they understand. Uh, so I don't know. They're not the crazy evil breed that some people, look at them. And, the people that look at them like that are the same ones that look at pit bulls like that and look at,
Mm-hmm.
even dogos like that or any Tosa, any breed.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these breeds are not, everything has their own purpose, their own, you know, they're not really as crazy as people make them out to be. This breed, the thing that amazes me about them most is how gentle. Like it seems like they're aware of their size. They're aware of who they are. Even it's a fighting dog. This fighting dog, I see fighting dog. It's actual dog that is used in dog fights. He goes in the home around other pet dogs, and he's there in the family. He does the fight, but he's there at the house with the other dogs, and he's not fighting those dogs. He's fighting that dog because that's what his owner is asking him to do.
Mm-hmm.
He's taking them. This is a strange dog. This is what your purpose is. But the dog is not like his. That's not his natural nature. He's sweet, you
Mm-hmm.
know, gentle, calm, so calm. I love how calm this breed is. But
Mm-hmm.
they can go when you ask them to. That's the
Mm-hmm.
thing. They're not bouncing off the walls, but they'll go for it when you ask them to.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that you shouldn't run from a dog's lineage and its heritage. Uh, it's just something that if you're, when they come here and their pets or and their family guardians or whatever, farm dogs, it's just something to be aware of. I think instead of running away from it, just be aware of it. Um, because there's so many other dogs that we have today that Rottweilers, pit bulls that are popular that have the same kind of lineage.
Similar history. Yes.
And I think it's just because there's not very many of them, and it comes from a distant land that people get a little nervous or kind of look past them because of that instead of hey, this could be a really good breed that could add a lot to the dog world here in the United States and Canada. That's how I look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like they call them the beast from the east, but they're really like a gentle giant.
yeah. Well, I found a lot of dogs that do come from that lineage. As long as you train them and socialize them, they're very gentle and they're confident in their abilities, so they don't have to act like
Yes.
a chihuahua. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
just because they know if it came down to it, they can defend themselves. But here in the Western world, we don't need them to do that. So, but
Yeah.
at the same time, you don't want to you know completely neuter them in that way. You still want them to be functional, especially if they're going to guard your land and your home and your family. So yeah, it's just the same as a Rottweiler, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't live in a very cold climate, but say somewhere like I do where it can get below zero in the wintertime. Do you think they would do okay, or would they need special attention? And
Well, I think they probably resist the heat a lot better than the cold because
mm-hmm.
they have really thin, stretchy, loose skin, um, and they come from the desert a lot. A lot of them are, burning their paws on the sand when they're walking in the videos. You can see that, and got sunburn, but they're doing fine in the heat. But they do really good in the cold too. I took my dogs. I went camping in Colorado in the winter time, and I was worried. I got so worried about them. I had to go buy them shoes and coats and stuff, but they were just running and rolling in the snow like it was, not like they loved it, So
Mm-hmm.
they were fine. We went hiking. They didn't, so they can withstand the cold pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I think as long as they have, shelter and they're taken care of good, they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say they could withstand degrees like maybe a Malamute could, but they're pretty good in the cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And to me, what I've read about and what I've seen, the Bully Kutta is definitely a hardy breed, and obviously where they come from and what they've been used for. And what is the typical height and weight? What are you wanting to keep that as, and the standard that you look for?
Well, when I first started getting into bully kudos, which was like 2010, everybody was saying that their dogs are 44 inches and all this. So I just want to say they do not get that big. That is, that is over exaggeration. They're very big dogs, but they're not usually like as tall as a Dane.
Okay.
They're a little heavier bodied. They can reach that height. But they're not all that height. The females are a little smaller than the males. The females are usually between 26 and 30, a little over 30. The males are usually between 28 and 32. They can be a little more. We had dogs, Badshaw, Multi. They were 34 inches. They can be bigger,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Great Dane size. 32 is Great Dane size. So, um, but yeah, they're about that size, but they're heavier bodied than a Dane, but not like a Mastiff. So they'll reach between like 100 on a small dog, and maybe our heaviest dog we had him like at 250, I
Wow.
think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was Badshaw.
Okay.
Well, personally, I like high protein, and I agree with raw feeding and that sort of thing. So my dogs get a mixture of kibble and raw. So I'll freeze some meat, heart, gizzard, some chicken, whole chicken sometimes, eggs, that type of thing, and I'll give them a little bit of that for some of their meals, and some of their meals they'll get kibble.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, I don't think they would survive. I don't think any dog really survives really well on a lot of a grain diet. I think everybody should be aware of what's in their pet food and what they're feeding their dogs. So a breed that needs to you have to take care of their joints because it's a large breed. And so a breed like that, especially what they eat over there, they're feeding them ghee, real meat. They give them meat and vegetables. They make real meals with them. They don't just give
Mm-hmm.
them kibble all the time,
Mm-hmm.
like we do over here. So
Right.
that's what I think they thrive best on.
Mm-hmm. And have you seen any issues with their thin coat? Maybe some skin issues, or has that been?
None of mine have had any skin issues. They have really thin fur. Oh, actually, my male, he did get a little bit of a redness on his back one time,
Mm-hmm.
but it was due to the fleas. My flea medicine ran out.
Mm-hmm.
So I think him specifically was a little sensitive to the fleas that we have here,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But once he was back on his flea medicine, that
He
went
was
away.
fine. That one
So.
was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my female never had any skin issues. He never had any other issues from the foods or the grasses or any allergies or anything like that. They were
Mm-hmm.
pretty good.
And are they barkers, or do they just bark when they need to alert?
They're not crazy barkers. They'll alert if some stranger is coming. If they know the person, they'll just get excited or whatever. But if it's a stranger, they'll get up and they'll bark at the person. They'll let you know somebody's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But they're not excessive barkers. They're not going to be outside just woo 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 barking at nothing. They bark with purpose.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. What would you say to somebody who's looking at a big dog say a Great Dane or a Mastiff breed, how would you sway them to maybe look at a Bully Kutta instead of, say, a English Mastiff or a Great Dane or even a Tosa?
Well, it depends on what the person wants out of a dog. If they want a dog that's going to be calm, but a dog that's agile, and a dog that's going to protect them, but it's not going to be aggressive for no reason, I would say get a Bully Kutta. I love Great Danes. Honestly, most of Great Danes I know are wimps, and they get hurt really easily, their joints, and I had a friend of mine had a Great Dane that they had to put down recently because she got bloat, and they fixed it, and she got bloat again, and she died. Bully Kutta are not known for getting bloat. They can have some weak pasterns if you go to the wrong bloodline, but for the most part, they have a lot better joints, because they're still used today. I think a lot of the breeds that, are just kind of house pets and they kind of have a lot of inbreeding going on,
Mm-hmm.
um, they kind of lose their function and they kind of lose their health because of it too. Uh, Great Danes are also, I think they're kind of gentle giants too, and they're goofy, but they're kind of a little more all over the place. Where Bully Kutta is very chill. They're very cool all the time. I don't know how another way to say that, but
Yeah.
their temperament is so good. It's so good. And the English Mastiff, that's a big dog. I love English Mastiffs too, but I don't know. I know Mastiffs can be known for their aggression issues too, and they can have English Mastiffs in particular. They get cancer a lot. Bully Kutta are not known for getting cancer. Of course, there's always going to be some dogs. I'm not going to say this dog will never get cancer or it's never going to have hip issues. It
Mm-hmm.
happens. But this breed, as a general, is typically very hardy. So if you want a hardy dog that's very cool-tempered, it's very good with kids and very good with the family, but will protect you from intruders, Bully Kutta.
Yeah. All right. Well, any last words? Anything that you want to convey? And just go ahead and say it. And
Um, I don't know. I guess people want to follow our Facebook page, the Succha Bully Kutta. If anybody's interested in a Bully Kutta, they can message me, message Kitten, or you just want to Jonu, that's his name, sorry, his other name. If you just want to learn more about the breed, I'm happy to talk anytime. Just reach out.
great.
Thanks for having me on.
Bye.
All right. Bye.